decided to buy, all the way back in Kansas, ended up to be a Jawa.
Alright, what we got going on here? Pretty good, but we think we need water. Need to stay away from that. No idea where we are. Oh yeah, kinda good. This one down. Our water. Fire. Good, there you go. Alright. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Wait, are we good? Didn't drink it well. Okay. What is that? Then we get this back into the yellow here. Get some fingers. There. We do have to go back to the well and fill up our tin again, fortunately. This is fresh spawn area. They got nothing to lose. Oh. We're out of here. Let's see if we can get a come up. We're probably gonna get killed though. Not gonna run to the wall now. But we could use some things to do. Me too. go. Yeah. Alright, let's get out of here. See what we can find. Or it just. Turn around with you. Good. I can't believe that jam is all I've got. Try to move away from our spawn area. No, I'd like to teammate, but pretty geared at this point. Not really, but enough so fresh spawns are doing good. Threat. Shotgun shells. Nice. 2 rifles and can't use it. Okay. They're everywhere. Looks like that everyone. All right. Maybe it's just loading, not bad. alcohol. actually saw my jelliest. That wasn't what I wanted. Definitely not a good idea. There you get off this bully. Not dead yet. Oh. feel like it's bugged. I feel like I'm bugged. I'm not getting heat bugged either. Moving on. That's work too, though. That's it. Oh, cool. Way over there. And we get some. Oh, ain't that. Hold up somewhere. I know what we need to do. Just make your way south. Village is maxed out our on-town gear.
Hi.
Who had to cuddle with me all night? Who was the cuddle bug last night? Who wouldn't let Daddy work?
God, that was just like a person. Keep in mind, there's gonna be an ABS. I don't know, I'm getting wet. And or whatever it is. Really have no idea. Need to find some stairs. Really can't. I think this was That has been alive for a little bit. Probably dies. Just they will live. So it wasn't bugged. But we are gonna have those. Really cold. There up here. Fire. Maybe we'll get lucky again. What a big one. As long as there's no road. Oh, tree. on. Not you, but oh, there we go. Probably killed her. But who's watching on? Very bad spot. What's up, Millie? We just probably there. I don't know the layout. It's calling it. Come on, give me a plus sign. I don't like this. I don't like this. Not even a little bit. I know nothing about going on in here. Ooh, look, there's fire. That's what I expected to happen to me. No, the thing is, I don't know. You know there's some. Oh shit, man. The fucking night. Really? Why is it? Aren't you? Hopefully the sickness goes away. Ah, there it goes. Nice. Guys, are getting some value out of this. This is a good thing. Gotta go. Can't heat, but jacket fucked up. Duct tape. I may have just heard. Okay, I'm over here. Alright. That's the end of that life. Jumped the shit on me. Thought they didn't see me. Fuck, that sucks. Hello? Hello? I have no idea where I am. I picked random. I think I spawned with a... Oh yeah, I know. Purple ash and blue. Fucking blizzards can kill us. Because we have no idea where we're going. Why not? Fresh on military zone, what could go wrong? Over here earlier. Can't believe there's no knife in there. We're done. Got no fire. Start a fire. The storm let up. Fine. Nice. if there's a knife. Sorry, don't mean to make you guys nauseous. Yeah, we're dead. Oh. Alright, now we need eat food. And rags. And server. Love you.
Hello?
Hardware enthusiasts are eating so good right now. 2025 appears to be the year of massive upgrades to all facets of computing. Laptop, desktop, graphics cards, and so much more. So big thanks to Intel for sponsoring this video and our trip to CES this year so that we could see exactly what they're cooking up for this year and beyond. First up, for the mainstream laptop market, they've got their Arrow Lake H processors coming in. That's the part of the market that uses CPUs at 28 to 45 watts. The non-hardcore gamers who still need competent performance will get the Intel Core Ultra 200H series. They're 21% better in performance per watt than their previous gen of Meteor Lake H and handedly beat the competition. They crush it in single-threaded and multi-threaded performance with the Intel Core Ultra 9 285H having 16 cores at up to 5.4 gigahertz. But there's plenty of other options down the stack, going to the Intel Core Ultra 5 255H with 14 cores at up to 4.9 gigahertz. And they also go hard in gaming, with it being up to 22% faster at 1080p with its integrated graphics than the previous generation, and up to 58% faster than others in the market. And while integrated graphics doesn't always wow, these benchmarks show that it's super competent, especially when you add in their support for XeSS2 with lower latency, super resolution, and frame generation. And my favorite thing about the integrated graphics with Arrow Lake H is that they're actually based on Alchemist, not the newest Battle Mage architecture. But Intel put in the software work to backport the feature set of XeSS2 to these chips so that you're not missing out. But just because it's Alchemist doesn't mean they didn't make any improvements from the GPU that was in the previous Meteor Lake H setups. They increased the AI throughput with 128 XMX engines, they've doubled the ray tracing with 2 traversal pipelines per ray tracing unit, and they doubled the L2 cache size to 8 megabytes. So a nice combination of hardware improvements with software enhancements. Then you add in the fact that these Intel Core Ultra 200H chips are going into over 100 different notebooks from their partners, and you have a recipe for tons of people having access to some of the best options on the market. But then they had their Arrow Lake HX chips to show off, the gaming-oriented ones, and these make some killer improvements as well. Not only is the Intel Core Ultra 200HX series going to launch with the latest graphics cards on the market, but the CPU performance is also incredible. Single and multi-threaded performance that leads the industry, but that's also partnered with incredible efficiency, with the Intel Core Ultra 9 285HX having wildly good performance per watt. But the big thing there is that these chips scale across a wide range of power profiles, from average power consumption to the extreme. So you can have more efficient laptops, but they also showcase performance numbers from an Intel Core Ultra 9 285HX that ran at 150 watts because the CPU still gives performance gains at that power level. That's 24 cores at up to 5.5 gigahertz, scaling well even at the tippity top of laptop power profiles. But they also scaled down to the Intel Core Ultra 5 235HX with 14 cores at up to 5.1 gigahertz.
We'll
All
probably
those
do.
advantages with creative
Guys, I'm
software and
13th
Intel
in this
design
queue,
creative
and
productivity applications. And it has the
I gotta
connectivity
go to work
with
soon,
Thunderbolt
so.
support, fast Intel killer Wi-Fi, plenty of PCI Express lanes, and ton of USB options. As Robert Halleck put it, it's a hilarious amount of USB support on a laptop. And with over 40 designs hitting the market, gamers are gonna have tons of options to have incredible performance on the go. But Intel knows that all that good hardware is nothing without the software to match it. And while AI is the buzzword du jour, I absolutely love Intel's philosophy behind how they're implementing it. They understand that the AI performance is nothing if the tops that they're getting from the CPU, NPU, and GPU aren't paired with a great framework and solid applications. They have their OpenVINO toolkit, which is robust and gives tons of supports for developers. They have support for over 400 AI features right now in so many different applications. And they showcase their AI Super Builder software that allows you to download various AI frameworks that match your use case and have them locally running on your device, offline even. We got to speak to one of the engineers who helped put Super Builder together. They also showcased it to us on one of the laptops that they had, which actually had this really neat design in the trackpad, which lights up every single time your NPU is being utilized, which is great because a lot of people don't even know what an NPU is. So if you have a little happen. You know, like how we had hard drive indicators way back in the day. If you have an NPU indicator, you can see, hey, this process is taking advantage of the NPU that is inside my Intel chip. And yes, AI was said more times than anyone could possibly count at CES in general, but Intel's philosophy is one of giving the user the hardware they need to run everything themselves. The TOPS, all the processors, are there to serve you, not to have you pay for a cloud subscription to some company that takes all your sensitive data and stores it in their own servers. Keeping things local appears to be what Intel is really trying to do with things like their AI superbuilder. And then they showcased their new implementation of Thunderbolt Share, where with one cable you can transmit video and audio across two computers, which if you know anything about sharing Windows audio, that is an impressive software engineering task. But practically, this means that a thin and light laptop, like something that's running Arrow Lake H or otherwise, could stream the gameplay from a gaming PC thanks to Intel's Thunderbolt tech and software development. This one was fun because it's the logical extension of that dual PC that I got to see Intel show off at TwitchCon 2022. That was an Intel NUC paired with a gaming PC to allow for your streaming PC and gaming PC to be fused into one chassis. But even that still required a capture card to be installed. With Intel's updates to Thunderbolt Share, the capture card is eliminated and you can just stream using one cable to the streaming computer. And then looking towards the future, Intel did say that both their 18A production and Panther Lake are progressing well, with them even having functional Panther Lake systems on display. Early testing samples, but still showcasing that it's on its way towards launch. But it wasn't just laptops that Intel wanted to highlight. There's some updates coming to the desktop market as well. Firstly, there's the expansion to the Intel Core Ultra 200S lineup, specifically the non-overclockable or non-K SKUs. So the 35 and 65 watt part chips that will be a more mainstream option for very many office workers and gamers out there, which they are also pairing with two new motherboard platforms, the B860 and the H810, starting at $129 and $99 respectively. With the B860 having a lot of the feature set that most people need, including gamers, Thunderbolt 4 support, 4 DDR5 RAM slot support, Wi-Fi 6, large volume USB support, and PCI Express 5.0. But they also provided a field update on the firmware and software and BIOS updates for the Core Ultra 200S lineup. So that's the overclockable chips that are currently out on the market. Firstly, there's enhancements to Intel's APO, or Application Optimization Software, that now makes some games go up to 14% faster with it turned on. They also work to adjust the power plans within Windows to yield faster performance as well as processor power management adjustments with an up to 37% faster improvement. And then there was also adjustments to CCF Auto GV in the motherboard settings to yield better results as well. And then finally, new BIOS updates that allow for faster gaming performance and lower memory latency overall. So not only is Intel expanding their desktop lineup with the Core Ultra 200S series, but then also showing commitment to the previous promises that they made with the chips that have already been launched. And then lastly, because I know Intel's discrete gaming GPUs are always a hot topic of conversation, number one, it was beautiful getting to see Battlemage on full display, all the various partner cards and Intel's own limited edition, running games here and there. I actually just got mine delivered right before leaving for CES, so it was giving me envy and made me want to go back home and play with it. But secondly, I want to relay what Intel's co-CEO said about the future of their discrete graphics cards now that they've already launched Battlemage. They're going to continue to make strategic investments in discrete graphics, which is encouraging to hear. So there was a lot of good stuff from Intel at CES this year. I'd say that I'm personally most excited for their AI Superbuilder and Thunderbolt Share. The practical implications of those is quite high for my workload. Having my own constructed AI software that's working with my own files and my own details locally, but that's also been fused together to be the best version of the AI for me. Such a good idea. And then Thunderbolt Share for streaming, just one cable to make streaming easier. Such a good idea for us as well. So big thanks to Intel for bringing us out to Vegas this year and sponsoring this video. And then also, you know, on a personal note, I'm appreciative that Intel's event took place over less than a total of 30 hours, including the keynote and then all the demos that we had to do, so that I could go and get back home to my family with our newborn. It was nice to be there still. And
Does this thing pull the wheels off the front? It's time, people. It's time for Cheap Jeep Boost. And my Jeep Wrangler has most of all the hardware to do this, including a turbocharger and a really cool Mercedes-AMG water-to-air intercooler system. And if you guys were around for the last Jeep Wrangler video, you know what Fluid Motor Union did to this exhaust. I challenged the guys to build my Jeep exhaust out of literal spare parts, and that is exactly what they did, including megaphones on top of megaphones on top of more megaphones. So now my Jeep sounds like this. What? Oh my God! They also moved my wastegate to a much better spot, and we're gonna find out exactly how this little wastegate tailpipe sounds in this video. Now, so far, everything to the Jeep has been done with budget in mind, and today that'll be no different. We are using $40 0304 Cobra fuel injectors, a $6 old Jeep fuel rail, and we're gonna weld a bung to it. We have a Typhoon fuel pump, a Dodge Neon SR2 map sensor, and because for some reason Jeep owners leave literal rubber duckies on other Jeeps to show that they like their Jeep or something, we're gonna try something with a duck call and take being a Jeep owner to a whole new level. I think we can tape this right to the blow-off valves, that way we can call other Jeeps every time we let off. This will work here. That looks good. But even if we can get all of these random mixed and matched parts to work, we don't know how this straight six that was designed like 60 years ago is going to live with boost. But I am dying to find out. So let's drop this fuel tank, give this Jeep some more fuel, give it some boost. And we're getting right to work because this is legit street cars. There's no fluff included.
We're outside to clean because this metal skid plate is full of stuff and it's actually really beefy. The tank itself is really light, it's plastic. But since we're opening it up, let's clean it. Oh yeah, look at all that Jeep dirt. Woo, it's solid though, not rusted out. So here's what we have going on. This is a returnless system currently, so this is just the feed line. But I was able to find this online, which is gonna add a return and then maintain the factory feed right here. And this little nipple right here is for a vacuum line, so this has a built-in boost reference regulator, so as boost rises, it will increase fuel pressure, which is what you want. Now, I don't have the special tool for this, so hammer it is. Penetrating oil here that might help us. There we go. Nice. Don't need no stinking tools. Alright, ring's coming off. Let's lift this out. Give it a little shimmy shake. Wow, this is a nice beefy unit right here. Jeez. Now be very careful because we have our float right here. Take this off for now. We're smoking fuel. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we need to get a big fuel pump in here. Built like a tank. I tried to drive the Jeep a lot, so to lower the fuel level, so we did pretty good. Inside of the tank looks perfect though. You can go swimming in there. I mean, you'd die and you can't fit inside of a gas tank, but if you could go swimming in there. Now we're gonna pull the plug on the sender, and I think if I squeeze these, little Vulcan death grip, it'll release. And let's pop this off too. Aha, got it. All right, there's a plug for the actual fuel pump in here. Is this off? I think it comes out the bottom. This is a goofy setup. I don't see any other way to get this pump out other than just like literally pulling it out. Ah, look at this. Whew. All right. Wow, this is like a complicated system. It's got this tube right here that goes onto here, and then this seals onto here, like that. That's what it looks like inside of this beefy piece of aluminum. All right, whatever. This is all we need to get to. This is so goofy. This literally looks like cardboard or cork or something. It's so weird. It's like a splash guard. I don't know what this is. Well, I'm glad I did this, but I was able to pull out another filter inside of here. So we have a new one installed. So there's that filter. Then we got a new little sock filter for here. And I think that's because the Jeep doesn't actually have an inline fuel filter. There's no like replaceable fuel filter outside of this, which is kind of bizarre on such an old vehicle that back then they had fuel filters. So this is our 255 liter per hour pump from Racetronics. These are excellent. I love these guys. I'll leave a link down below. I've been working with them for a while, but this is so nice. Our electrical connector is exactly the same. And this fits over here, our little transfer tube. So this is the easiest install ever to upgrade the fuel pump. We're just gonna slide this on like that. Now this is a spring, so it's gonna spring back like that, and this is gonna keep it pushed down and firm inside of this aluminum basket. But check this out, the connector is exactly the same. We don't even have to do any wiring mods. With everything connected, our pump is going right back home. I bet this pump never thought it was going into a Wrangler though. And we have our little teeth here. They're gonna click in. There we go.
Now we just plug in our sender. Our gas gauge was working good, so no reason to replace this. That's it. That's how you put a big fuel pump in your Jeep Wrangler. Next, we have to replace this piece here so we can get our boost reference regulator in there and our provision for the return. So we'll just kind of give this a little pry. There we are, nice and easy. So now we can pull this out like that. I did clean this up a bit, so now we have to transfer this dust shield over to our new unit. This is not actually seal fuel, that's what these O-rings are for. And now we can transfer this assembly onto the sending unit. It'll push right in so the O-rings are sealing. And then we'll snap in our feed line, snap in the retainer. There we go. Okay, we're ready. Oh, hold on a second, not yet, not yet. Where's my sock? We gotta snap in our sock here. And now, this unit is ready to go back. Time to go back in, so we're gonna reinstall our rubber seal, and I put a little Mercedes-Benz sunroof grease on there. But if you guys don't have that, like Vaseline would work good. There's an arrow on the sending unit here, and that lines up with this guy right here. Be careful with your float. Slide it in. Now we're just gonna push it down. There we are. Get the locking ring in the mix, and we'll lock it down. Couple things before we put this tank up. We want to connect our vacuum line here, and then we need to figure out what our fuel line is going to look like and build that. And I think a 45 is going to be perfect. I have a very long 6AN hose we're going to use, so a little bit of silicone spray. Then we have our locking nut, so we're going to slide that on. Kind of give it a little twisteroo, and you want to make sure that this is all the way down. Now, if you have a vise, you're off to a pretty good start with building your own AN lines, but they sell these nice clamps that you can use in the vise.
Thank you.
It holds it and doesn't destroy anything. A little bit more silicone spray, and now you see this is threaded. So I'm going to push up on the hose, make sure that that is held in place, and then we are just going to turn this in there and just make sure that this hose doesn't slide down. You can do a lot of this by hand, but it does get tough eventually. So then you just get a wrench to finish off the job, all still while holding the line on the bottom. They do make a special wrench for this too, so you don't scratch off the red finish or blue finish or black finish. There we go. Click. With our new AN fitting not going anywhere, we're gonna go ahead and thread it on. Give it a little tighten. Now, to keep everything nice and tucked up and clean, we'll run a zip tie here with all three of these lines. Bam, looking good. Before we install the tank, I did clean the inside of this. I know it looks horrible, but it is structurally sound, so this is still very, very thick. It's just a little rusted, and no, I'm not gonna grind it all down and paint it and spend 5 hours on it. It's an off-road Jeep, so we're gonna use some heavy-duty metal protector to stop it from rusting any further, and just simply gonna spray it on like that. There we go. You'll never rust again. You'll just stay just like that. That stuff is awesome. It's going to turn into a wax and seal it up. Wow, this tank is so heavy for having like an 8th tank. Ow. There we are. Straps are back on. We can tighten this tank into here first. Yeah, they had little rubber booties here. We'll go right back together. Look at that. Nothing was ever done here. Good luck, straps. You got a few more years in you. Spray a little silicone into all of these. They have O-rings. And now we're just going right back up. All right, well, we're going up, but before we go all the way up, we want to start clicking in our lines. There we are. That's the feed. Now this is all for the evap for emissions, keeping that intact. All right, tightening up the tank. A couple more in here. Fuel tank's done. Let's run some lines. Okay, and that was really, really easy. We just went along with the other fuel lines right here. Everything's zip tied up. Before we continue, a moment for today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. If you guys are into fantasy sports, you are going to love this. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for your chance to win up to 1,000 times your money. And we are in the NFL playoffs, so don't miss out on all of the action. Derrick Henry, yeah, I think he's gonna go for more than 98.5 rushing yards, but Lamar Jackson, I'm sorry, buddy, you're going for less. So then we'll finalize our lineup. Here's what we got. I like Russ, but he's getting old, man. Well, so's really bad. I turned the heat down because this is really thick and that's really thin, so I'm trying to find that happy medium. Gas is on. So I'm gonna try and tack this first. All right, it's tacked. I'm giving it a tack right now. All right, so with no filler, you can see I've connected the 2, so I'll tack it on the other side. All right, I have tacked this guy on pretty well. I have technically attached 2 pieces of metal that I've never met before, and now I'm going to go with the filler. All right, so I haven't used fill rod in, 22 years since I welded at Wyotech. So here goes nothing. People, strike an arc. Here we are. I'm currently adding filler right now. I'm doing it. I don't know how this is gonna look. Okay. I did a little piece. Let's see. Well, it's about 15 minutes later. I've given this a few more shots and it's not good. I'm having a really hard time welding the very thin rail to this thicker fitting. I'm blowing through a little bit. Yeah, like that's not supposed to look like that. That's horrible. I definitely think it's time I just sublet this out. I'm gonna ruin my rail. But I want to show you guys how bad my welds are because one day I hope to get better at welding. I mean, I've literally put no effort into this at all. I was just kind of being impatient and wanted to try out my new machine. But I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos, maybe take a course or something, and one day I'm hoping that I can actually weld, and then I'll show you guys that, you know, you can learn too at home. Like, this is my starting point, is what you saw right there, and now it's on the internet. You guys know how bad I am, so it can only go up from here, right? Anyway, I'm gonna have someone else do that because I gotta move on with this project. We gotta get this thing boosted. I know how to do that. All right, guys, here it is. Here it is. She is welded up, and that's definitely gonna hold. So now we need to make it look pretty. So we'll start off with a little primer, which actually looks pretty good. A lot of times I do primer and I'm like, I should just leave it. And by primer, I mean Nardo gray for true builds. Time for a little black. We're going gloss black here. We'll do a light coat first. After 10 minutes, we're gonna do our wet coat. Ooh. With the fuel rail drying, we can move on to our Dodge Neon SRT4 map sensor. Remember the old Dodge Neon? This is a 2 1/4 bar map sensor, and then here are the 2003 and 2004 Ford Mustang Cobra fuel injectors. These are 39-pounders. So we need to run this adapter in between the throttle body and the intake, and then our map sensor will plug in right here. We need to remove the intercooler, and I wanted to get a better clamp on this anyway. All right, let's see. Just kind of move this out of the way. We don't want to have to rebleed the system.
No, I was gonna have you work tomorrow, but you didn't come down last night.
Throttle body coming off.
Because I'm not gonna be there. You get what I'm saying? You were still getting your day, right?
Look at this cute little 90-degree elbow we can hijack to use on something else too. This is our vacuum line going to our fuel pressure regulator that we installed in the tank, and it'll fit perfectly on here. So I'll cut this to length once it's back, but that's awesome. We can use a factory port. You know how much I love factory stuff. What's cool about this adapter is they give you 2 ports. I plugged one, but this will be for a boost gauge eventually. And let's pop in this map sensor. Yeah, and we have some nice hardware for it too. Cool. So of course we have longer bolts now for the throttle body. So we'll get these in. Spacer going in with a new gasket. These bolts right in. Coming down, sweet. All right, let's tighten this up. Nice. Spacer's all torqued, and now we can run our vacuum line to it. A little snip. And our fuel pressure regulator has its reference. This is great. Included in the throttle body spacer were a couple of spacers for the throttle bracket, so those are done. Jeez, injectors. This rail will not come off. There we go. A little shimmy. There we are. Okay. Jeez. Now I'm gonna take the injectors off the rail and try and slide the rail out of here. Fuel rail's coming out. Goodbye. Beautiful fuel rail is dry, and we're gonna put this in first, and then we'll get the injectors in. With the fuel rail in place, I'm gonna slide in our Ford injectors like that. Probably just get them all in and then install the rail. Cobra injectors are installed. Now we're gonna tighten up the rail. I cut down our steel braided line and just installed a 90. So now I can feed this up to the rail. Fuel line's attached, looking good. Everything is back together and we're about to load up a base file. So Jeremy from Cetera that tuned the Hellcat is helping me out with the tune here. We're using HP tuners. So I have their latest and greatest plugged in. Speaking of the Hellcat, here she is on winter duty. And speaking of HP tuners, look at this, curbside delivery. So I totally forgot to get this guy. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. This is gonna help me log our wideband with the new hardware that we got. Guys, this is amazing. Look at this thing. Oh, look at that, it's like brand new. This is great. So HP Tuners is local to me, and these guys are awesome. I've been using them for almost like 2 decades. Are you guys 2 decades old yet? 20 years of HP tuning? That's crazy, but anyway, we're good to go now for some wideband. Thanks, guys, appreciate it. All right, thanks. I work with a ton of really cool companies, as you guys have seen on the channel, but HP, I've been chatting with them forever. We meet up in Vegas for SEMA all the time. They are amazing, and I really needed this, and they're like, we'll be right over. I just loaded up Jeremy's bass tune, and I added in our wideband as an input. So this is just my portable wideband that I can plug into the cigarette lighter. And this was totally my fault. I forgot to have Fluid add an O2 sensor pung for the wideband. So for now, I have it sticking in the tailpipe and taped all over the Jeep as well. Good thing it's yellow. Oh, and check out how nice this starts up with Jeremy's bass tune. It runs beautifully. So I had it running for a little bit to check everything over. We're up to temp. So it runs great, but I hear a vacuum leak. But man, does this guy run smooth. So this has the bigger injectors, our whole new fuel system, different map sensor, and it's running great on that bass tune, but I hear something. It's almost like it's underneath though. Sometimes on a manual trans, it can kind of sound like a vacuum leak with everything spinning, but I don't think that's that. Here's the vacuum line we added. I don't think it's that. Oh, wait a minute. What is that? Whoa. I found it. It's sucking my glove in. Jeez. Oh my gosh. This is like a, what is this? Oh, this has got to be for the evap system. Oh yeah. Let's see. Woo! Yeah, that's you're not supposed to have a slit in your hose like that. That's bad. Let's see how short of a piece this is. Can I just pull it off? Oh no, it goes up there quite a ways. Give it the old chopperoo. Cut this off. Get out of here. All right. Well, we cut the cancer out. That's no good. It's actually a really long. Oh yeah, it's a long hose. Should be good. Just cutting that out, and we'll slide this all the way, and we are fixed. Oh wow, it's so quiet. I think that was leaking like pretty much the whole time I had it. That's pretty bad. But the Jeep speed density, no mass airflow sensor, so it didn't set a light or anything. The idle was fine. I don't know, maybe it wasn't leaking the whole time, but it was leaking now, and that's fixed. So let's go for a ride. We will log with AFR or a Lambda, send it over to Jeremy, and hopefully start to be able to get to boost. But he said, don't get into boost yet, which is, it's hard not to. Oh, and if you guys were around for the last Jeep video, this housing for the thermostat kept on leaking, but I finally got it. I had to order a better gasket, the one that has like the silicone kind of embedded in it. The cheap ones for like $1 just would not seal. It was crazy, but that's sealed. We're good. Let me just position my duck call before this ride. Right about there. Here we go, here we go. You can hear the blow off a little. Oh, I don't have the duck call close enough. We'll have to adjust that. So silly. Watching the log and just kind of varying RPM, and I'll probably do like a 10-minute log, send it out, and we'll see. Hopefully one of these will get back. It'll say a little bit of boost now, Alex, and we'll test it out. Oh, I can't wait. We're waiting for a new tune from Jeremy. So in the meantime, let's install some gauges. I got a boost gauge, and we'll install a permanent wideband. I think we're gonna put these in here where they have a sunglass case literally screwed into the edge. You know what, let's just get rid of this now. It's a good idea though, I gotta say. I like it. It's not bad. Wow, I really went to town with the screws. It's a big one. Woo! They glued it too. Jeez. I have glasses again. I don't know what that is, guys. What is that? Is that fancy? Now, I pulled out the glove box so we can get some power for these gauges very close to them. So this is a fuse tap I like to use. The inside 10 amp fuse is the stock fuse, and so that leg of the circuit is still factory. And then we added a second 10 amp fuse here, and those gauges pull just like a couple amps. So this is gonna be good. We're pulling in some wiring here through this factory grommet, and this is for our boost pressure sensor. So this electrical connector will plug in here. This is gonna get a reference from our intake manifold, and then it'll send that signal to the gauge. So analog gauges just have the vacuum line typically going to the back of the gauge. This is basically a map sensor. You know how much I love factory goodness. You see that hole right there? That's a factory hole doing nothing. You know where I'm going with this. We have a boost sensor with a hole about the same size. So why don't we use this hole? Use it for good. We'll put our sensor right there. Some nice shiny hardware. Oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. And we'll tighten it up. Go back this way. This way. There we go. There she is, all tight, ready to go. And now we need a vacuum source. And that plate that we installed in between the throttle body and the intake is our source. So we put the vacuum nipple on there. Vacuum line.
Bored, guys.
Run, so we'll give our vacuum line a snip. I have it running underneath everything. Stealth mode. Plug right into our new sensor like that. Beautiful. And we'll plug in our sensor like that. Check it out, guys. We got a new tune from Jeremy. Let's open it up and write that vehicle. Here we go. Look at this. 3 minutes write time. That's awesome. Whenever I upload a new tune on the Hellcat, it takes like 15, 20 minutes. You got to have a battery charger. You should have a battery charger on anything. But this thing, it's a Jeep Wrangler. It's got no power windows. It's not drawing anything. So we're good. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left. Let's duct tape stuff. So this is silly. Don't do this at home. I just want to hear a duck call when the blow-off valve goes off. So we need to direct some of this air. So on these style blow-off valves, the air just kind of goes out from all over the place. So we're going to channel it into our duck call like this. There we go. Hopefully that'll help. And this is called duct tape because it's for ducting, but a lot of people call it duck tape. In this case, it is duck tape. I'm waiting on a gauge holder, so we use some tape here. We got our boost gauge and our wideband. You know, it's looking pretty bad, but hopefully we'll have the holder soon. Our tune is loaded up. We're ready. I got a text from Jeremy. I asked him if I can get into boost. Yes, you can. Try a little more aggressive on the throttle. No wide open yet. We don't want to blow up. We are super low on gas. Getting some 93 right now. Almost 460 a gallon. I don't know, gas prices have been kind of steady lately. How much are you guys paying for premium? Premium is so much more than regular, by the way. Do you guys remember when premium was only like 15 or 20 cents more? Now it's like $1 more. All right, so we got some gas. Gas gauge still works, that's great. And check out our gauges, bad lighting right now, but you can switch the color on this glow shift. This was like 20 bucks or something off eBay, but we can make it match. There we go. Pretty well. Look at that, TRX. Got no wave from the TRX. Do the old Jeep thing. I mean, it's kind of the same brand, right? I don't know. Let's see what this sounds like. All right. It's definitely not the duck call. It makes it sound like a blow-off valve on like a Honda Civic or something. It didn't sound like that before. It was more of a whoosh. I want my duck call. All right, so I can get into a little more throttle. Oh, I felt the boost kick in for the first time. Oh, that was 5 PSI. The Jeep is actually making boost. This is awesome. All right, engine's all warmed up and I have the logger recording, so let's see what happens. Oh, whoa, this thing rips. Are you serious? Those are like maybe half throttle, but definitely getting into some boost, and it throws you back. Like, this thing is fast. Okay, from outside, you can hear the duck call a little. That's so ridiculous. We got a quacking yellow Jeep. Intake air, by the way, is awesome. I mean, this is ice cold, and we were getting about like 50 degrees, something like that. And that's just kind of doing little blasts here on the street. If we got on the highway, it'd be much colder. Back at the shop, waiting for another tune revision. And we're gonna go back together with the cowl. So it will still have kind of this snorkel because they cut it into this, but they won't be functional anymore, you know, because of the turbocharger. And here we go. This truck is so easy to work on. Yes, I just called it a truck. I don't know. What do you guys call Jeeps? I mean, they're SUVs, I guess, right? They're their own thing. It's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand unless you have a Jeep. Just got our gauge holder. It's gonna sit right here, so I'll loosen this up. This is all very easy to take apart. So we'll remove this, and it should be pretty simple. It's gonna sit right where the glasses case sat, right about there. That's mean. So we'll peel the tape. And it doesn't come with the tape, by the way. You have to add that on yourself. Guess what do you expect for 20 bucks? All right, now we just slide this in, and I'll apply some pressure from the bottom and all the way around. We'll mount this back up with some gauges. Feeding the wires through the holes right now, and then we'll get our gauge in there. There we go. Cheap Jeep interior, very easy to put back together too. All right, we're gonna plug in the boost one first. Boost. Let's see how she fits. Oh, great. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, this is so cool. Nice. All right, Jeremy at Cetera said I can do one wide open throttle run with this new tune. I'm just kind of scared, but here we go. Half throttle. That was half throttle. I got to ease into it. This thing is going to rip. Oh my gosh. That's great, and it's richening up. It's running pretty rich though at this half throttle, but that's good. You don't want lean, that's bad. Let's give them a couple more, you know, for the log. All right, that was like 12 air fuel at half throttle. I still haven't gone full throttle. I'm just freaked out, guys. Like, I'm a little scared. I don't want to blow up my baby. All right, guys, here we go. Wide open. My heart is pounding. Oh my gosh. This little Jeep Wrangler is quick. Oh man. All right, so I was just glancing at the AFR gauge. That's what it's called. And it went right to like 10.0, which I'm okay with that right now. Oh, that was our first time, so I'm gonna send this back to Jeremy. He'll make some adjustments. I'm like freaked out, man. Giving him a little bit more of a log. And this is extremely fun. Jeez. Gotta fix that exhaust though. And it's like for 200 RPM it makes noise. Guys, you might want to turbocharge your straight 6 Jeep Wrangler. Like, this is really cool. All right, we're removing the duck call for now. It's time to get serious here, people. Not really gonna keep this on. And we'll be able to hear what this blow-off valve really sounds like if I can get all this tape off. Let's probably not do that too much. Don't want to attract the ducks. Well, it's the next morning and we have snow. And I actually did drive the Jeep home yesterday, did some more logging. Everything looks good so far. So I was only given permission to do one wide open throttle pull before. Now we can do a few of them and we gotta go have some fun. Turbo Jeep. Woo! Wires right up. We definitely need some 4 high, 1 click. And my Jeep is super high tech. It tells you when you're in 4-wheel drive. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, wideband is gone. All right, it fell out of the exhaust. You know what? AFR looked pretty good. Not gonna lie, I'm not looking at it right now anyway, so yeah, we're gonna take this out. Luckily, the sensor is deep inside of here, so it should be good. We'll take off our yellow tape. There we go. It's a stock Jeep now. I was driving my son around to his activities last night, and I got the old Jeep, hold on, this hand on the steering wheel, and I'm like, I gave him one of these. It was very awkward. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, that's Jeep new. I guess.
For fuck's sake, come on.
I'm back in 2-wheel drive. It's too much fun. I mean, 4-wheel is awesome too. It's awesome all the time. Oh. Okay, we're good. Alright, we've been ripping for a little while here. Want to check everything over. It is still a fresh build. No smoke, no nothing, no leaks. So one thing I did notice though, our intake air temps, they're okay. Like when we're messing around, you know, wide open throttle, whatever we're doing, we're seeing like 90 or so. I think it's like 32 degrees out. This issue here, I pointed this out in the last video. The factory radiator hose is right on the intake tube. I don't know if that's actually translating into much higher intake air temp, but we could definitely do a little bit better. Swap out this hose and see what we see, but wow, this is great. Our Mercedes intercooler is super cold. Like, it's not even warm, it's actually cold. And how's our heat exchanger? I mean, it's clean, it's not getting packed with snow, which, I mean, honestly wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Let's see, pump is still good. Oh yeah, we're getting flow. Let's see. Oh my gosh, it's cold. It's like drinking water temperature, but don't drink antifreeze or you'll probably die. But yeah, no, everything's good, guys. Straight 6, baby. She's alive. Guys, I just want to bring my mic in closer to the engine. Listen how quiet this thing is. That's how they all are. These are seriously the best engines. Like, they last forever. There's guys with the straight 6s with 500,000 miles, no problem. They were just discontinued for emissions reasons, and then they went to the minivan V6. This, I think, is the last of the really good Jeep engines. Let me know in the comments if you agree. I love you. Oh, and check it out, guys. We're not getting any blow-by out of the breathers at all. I have 2 open breathers, that's all. And a lot of guys with turbo cars, you'll see this steaming out. If you guys remember on my Mitsubishi Eclipse, the blow-by on those, and this is just normal. Well, mine's got 250,000 miles, so it doesn't help. But it's so much that it'll blow the dipstick tube out, and I had to use a bunch of bungee cords to keep it down. It was still spewing oil. And this wasn't even designed for boost, and it's good. Anyway, let's go back to the shop. Let's fix this and do some more ripping. Guys, check out this crack on my windshield. Like, that literally just developed right now. It's from all the power. We're twisting the frame and the body on the Jeep. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I never had that crack. Earlier this morning, I thought I saw a little something up there, and it's continuing to crack from, I'm just gonna say, from all the power. It's from the power. We're back at the shop, and we don't need a lot here. We just need a little clearance, just like that. So before I go through the hassle of the parts store and looking at 100 different hoses, we're gonna loosen up the turbo and see if we can clock it like just a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Its natural position actually is a lot closer. I'd already loosened the other ones. So 45 here would be nice. I just don't have too much 45 on me. But check this out. If we just go down like that, and then give her a tighten, move it into position, and I loosened up the exhaust center section as well so we can get maximum rotatability. It's a word. It's when you get a lot of rotation. Anyway, hold this and we'll tighten everything up. Let's see what we got. Check it out. Oh, we have our clearance. That's perfect. Nice, easy fix. Thanks, Jeep. You're the best. So these are the old brackets for the air-to-air intercooler. We're gonna get rid of these. Now, this passenger side is the only one we can fit this back onto. It is the side with the cracked windshield, so I don't know. Probably has nothing to do with it at all. Ooh, let's put over the air filter. Yeah, just barely. Have to reroute this ground. There we go. Damn, look at that. It's oddly difficult to do. Did I bend the Jeep? With all this turbo boost? Whatever. Supported. I don't know about this one fitting with the intercooler, but we're gonna give it a try right now. And this intercooler is like directly in its way. I could kind of bend it though. This might just give it a natural twist. Okay, so it's in place right now. It's actually holding the intercooler down, but I don't want any metal. Some metal contact here. So sometimes you just gotta bend metal a little bit around these tubes. It could really help us. I found some really nice spacers too. I have no idea what this is from, but it was in my junk drawer, and this looks even better. Let's give it a try. Longer bolt. That's nice. This is looking great. Give it one more little. Yeah. Are we braced? I think we're braced, guys. We got like a 1/4 inch there. Both braces are intact. They're installed. Awesome. We have subframe connectors up here, so our windshield doesn't crack. We got a new tune from Jeremy, so I'm giving it some test runs, and we're gonna hop on the highway and give him a nice long log. Oh my gosh, so the wastegate dump is like right underneath, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's like a little mini exhaust pipe, like a 2-incher. That sounds so ridiculous on this. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine what this sounds like from outside. Like, does this thing pull the wheels off the front or something? This is nuts, guys. If you're wondering how the drivetrain is going to survive, I think it's only surviving because we're spinning a little bit, or a lot of it, depending if we're on snow. Right now, they've pretty much plowed and there's salt and water and stuff on the ground, but I don't know if these axles will hold up. Yeah, dry pavement, dropping the clutch, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to end in anything good. Yeah, we probably need like Dana 60s or something, and we just have Dana 35 in the back and a Dana 30 in the front. Upgraded axles and all that good stuff, but there's only so much this thing can handle, I think. But I'm on the highway cruising right now. I drove it home last night. Everything is perfect. It keeps getting better with every tune revision. And something that's insane is that we have like no timing in this. So this was all a big experiment with Jeremy tuning this thing remotely. This is an ancient PCM. They actually got significantly better in 2005. So I have a 2004, so Jeremy had to do a lot of trickery in the computer to get this all to work. And right now he has like less than half of the factory timing in it. We haven't added any back in because we're getting the fueling down right. So this has a lot in it. We're running a max of 10 pounds of boost, which I think is perfect for this engine to live. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with just leaving the timing as is. I'm pretty sure we doubled the horsepower and torque on this Jeep. It feels insane. And if you guys have ever driven one of these things stock, like, you know what they don't do. They don't throw you back. I mean, this thing seriously rips. I wish you could be in this Jeep with me right now, almost 1.3 million of you. But driving this thing around just sounds so ridiculous. Like, I can't wait to get the exhaust fixed because of the revs that we get at 2,000 RPM. Well, like, let me know what you think this sounds like, but it definitely has some 2JZ notes, you know, in the exhaust with the turbo noises. It's a straight 6. In that sense, they're very similar. It's like, it's a 2JZ Jeep, basically. So future plans for my Jeep Wrangler, because honestly, I mean, at this point, everything works great. Like, it's all good. I do want to eventually get it on the dyno, although that'll be interesting with the 35s and stuff. So we'll see what happens there. But it's super safe right now. I'm pretty happy with the power, but I'm just more curious what does this actually make? So eventually we'll get it on the dyno. I got some lights for it. I think I'm gonna swap out the front bumper, some little cosmetic stuff like that, but we do have to fix the locker cables are like stretched out, so I got those. But other than that, the vast majority of the project is finished, and I'm actually gonna drive this. I know I say this a lot, I switch up daily drivers, but I've been daily driving the Hellcat, and then we got like kind of our first snow knock on steering wheel. So this is perfect timing, honestly, for the Jeep. I'm gonna rock this, leave the Hellcat alone, and just enjoy it. So you guys will see the Jeep back probably closer to spring, around the same time that my ML55 will be done. It's over at Fluid Motor Union. We're putting a TJ Jeep Wrangler transfer case in the ML55, so it'll have selectable 2-wheel and 4-wheel and low and all that. It's gonna be neat, and hopefully, you know, the transfer case won't break. So towards the springtime, I'll get the Jeep and the ML at some kind of off-road park, and we'll have a little battle. We'll have some fun. We'll probably break some stuff, and we'll definitely hear some turbo noises in my turbo Jeep Wrangler. Okay, that'll do it for driving. You don't want to go too fast in a lifted Jeep Wrangler with a turbocharger. I think we're good right there. Well, we made it back to legit street quarters, and this Jeep ain't seen nothing yet. I'm gonna use it for daily duties, and we'll see how she fares, and then we'll get back into some more modifications. So I just want to say a big thanks to all my sponsors, especially the local guys, Fluid Motor Union with the exhaust. It is going back there for some more stuff. And then Jeremy from Cetera really came in big time here at the end. We didn't really know what we were going to do with tuning, and he helped us a lot with the remote tunes, and he was at home and stuff doing it. So thank you, Jeremy. Racetronics, injectors, just all, you know who you are. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching the Jeep series thus far. It is not over just yet. There will be more, and I hope all of you Jeep guys out there
This is the beautiful waterfront in Cape Town, South Africa, which may be by far the most touristy spot in the city, which makes sense. There's a lot of very touristy stuff to do around here. It's hot. It's well hot. Might be too hot. But I'm not just here to play Pokemon Go with skin melanoma. I want to buy the worst gaming system in South Africa. And this may be a good place to do it because of the infamous Incredible Connections. Now, before we go to the South African institution of suffering that is Incredible Connections to go buy a gaming PC, I thought we'd have a look at a more realistic representation of where the average South African would be buying a gaming PC. Because you really shouldn't be going into Incredible Connections. You're probably buying them online if you live in the country. So I'm going to use a website called Wootware as an example of the prices in the country. And when I went onto Wootware, I was pleasantly surprised by the pricing here, because it's not nearly as bad as I remember. For most of the components, the pricing is honestly kind of in line with what you'd get in the United States. And unlike the really stupid system in the United States, where they don't include the tax in the price you see all over the website, they actually have tax included in the pricing here. So it may look a little bit higher on initial inspection, but tax is included, which is good. We're looking at examples of a whole bunch of different types of components, from storage, CPUs, down to graphics cards. These prices are way closer than I was expecting. Monitors are maybe a little bit more expensive here than they are in the United States, and that's about it. The rest of it was pretty comparable. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that on Wootware's website, it does say that pretty much all of this stuff is on sale, but I did look a month ago and it was all on sale, and it's still on sale. So I think they do that thing where they pretend things are on sale to make you think that you're getting a good deal. But yeah, this is way better than I remember it being. But I think it's very important to keep in mind that for the average South African, spending $1,000 on PC components is a lot harder than it is for the average American. And I think the easiest way to quantify this difference is by using GDP per person, which in South Africa is $6,253, which $1,000 is a huge percentage of that. Whereas in the United States, the median GDP per person is $81,695. That's more than 10 times as much. So it's more than 10 times as expensive comparatively to buy a PC here, I guess is... Oh, hiccup. So with that, let's go back to the waterfront and buy a terrible PC for as little money as we can find. So interestingly, we don't have Apple stores here, we just have premium resellers called iStore. But we didn't come all this way for premium garbage, we came for incredible garbage. Now the easiest way to describe Incredible Connections is it's essentially just South African Best Buy if it was run by Scrooge McDuck. Its widespread reputation for terrible pricing and customer service has earned it some loving nicknames like Incredible Corruption or Incredible Erection. But at the end of the day, it's a place where a lot of people end up buying their TVs and laptops. But is their pricing really that bad? Well, in terms of TVs, it's difficult to tell because a lot of these brands you don't get in the US. And if you want an OLED, you can get a 55-inch and save a whopping R0. But 29,000 Rand is about the same that TV costs in America, so that's pretty good. But it just feels like a lot more because of what 29,000 Rand represents in terms of cost of living. Now again, with normal laptops, there's a bunch of SKU variants, but prices seem more or less in line with the United States. It's when the manufacturers tack gaming onto the laptop's name that my butthole starts to pucker. 45,000 Rand for a laptop with a 4060 in it is absurd, even when compared to the US price. So I guess that's why gamers dry heave at the mention of Incredible Connections. But at least they've got some sim racing stuff, I guess. Hey, there's still a PS4 here, although I don't see pricing for it. That's a shame. Now luckily, in terms of desktop gaming systems, Incredible Connections doesn't just have a bunch of Acer crap boxes. They use systems by an SI pre-built manufacturer called PC Builder. And aside from some labeling confusion and a system with a single stick of RAM, on the surface, these systems seem a bit better than I was expecting, although the gamer tax does very much creep in with the higher end versions. This one's got a nice tractor noise going. So I decided to buy the cheapest one they had. And because Incredible Connections doesn't have any individual PC components, I had to go to a different mall at a shop called Computer Mania, which actually had a reasonable collection of PC components in stock so that I could buy some upgrades for our Incredible Connections system. Now, like I said, this is the cheapest system that they had by quite a margin. It was almost half the price of the next system up. And that's because it doesn't come with a dedicated graphics card. But I did find a pretty affordable dedicated graphics card that we're going to upgrade it with a bit later. Now the specs are honestly not that terrible. I mean, the thing that I'm the most excited about is the 16 gig kit of DDR4. Although, I'm curious to see what the power supply situation is like, because it says it's a PC builder power supply, so it may be quite difficult to get information on that, but we'll figure it out. Right on the top, we get a little manual with it, which is very useful. Oh, okay, so it seems like they stress test the system using 3D Mark, which is pretty cool. On this page, they give you information about the exorcism that you need to do after you set it up, how to unbox it, how to unwrap all of this stuff. That's useful. This is a nice presentation. And then you also get some useful accessories like this USB to Wi-Fi dongle, some leftover motherboard accessories, and you even get your motherboard's quick start guide, which is pretty funny. And of course, a chunky South African power connector. Whoa, straight off the bat, there's a whole bunch of good stuff going on. Look at all that ventilation on the front with 3 fans sucking air in, and then we've got an exhaust on the back. There's some dated but useful I/O on the front. Ooh, although the rear I/O is about as modest as an Amish wet ankle competition. There's not a lot going on here. I mean, this is an AM4 motherboard. I didn't know that you got AM4 with this kind of I/O. Although at least you do have USB 3, so it's not a complete train smash. And then another interesting thing about the back is that the power supply seems to just support 220 volts, which is pretty weird, and it does mean that if you want to take this to a different country, you may have some problems. And in the interior, aside from the rental car spec motherboard, which has a very helpful warning to not eat the motherboard battery on it, this is a very neatly put together little system. The cable management is good. We've got our dual channel RAM with our stock AMD cooler, which is going to be enough for our 5600 GT, and especially considering all the airflow we've got going. And then obviously under that warning, we have our option to upgrade the graphics card, which we will do later on. But yeah, some actual care went into assembling this system, which is really nice to see. And then down here, we've got a little window giving us a look at the power supply we've got in here. And those specs make sense for a 550 watt power supply, but I wonder who the OEM is that makes this, because I'm pretty sure that PC Builder isn't making their own power supplies. Let's open the back and see if we can get a bit more information about it. Oh, that's a really nice touch. On the back panel, there's a whole bunch of information about the assembly of the system. It shows here that they ran PC Mark for 13 whole minutes. We do have some scores here for that. They tell you who the PC tech is, so you know whose house to attack when your system catches on fire. Yeah, that's a useful touch. Oh, they even tell you that they've got X&Ps enabled, but this is without a CPU overclock. That's cool, I like that. And then on the back, we've got some cable management that doesn't look like the result of a frontal lobotomy, which is good. We also get a proper fan connector, and not just a Molex chain like you see on a bunch of other cheap systems off like Amazon. Although, down here is a little bit of a mess, so it's gonna be a bit annoying for us to get to the supplemental power for the graphics card, assuming that even exists in here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's hiding under there, but I guess that's later's problem. I have to say, I am pleasantly surprised at the standard of thing we could buy at Incredible Connections. So let's put the side panels back on and see how it runs before we try upgrade it a bit. Oh, what? Their Windows 11 install actually lets you set up without internet without having to use the hack workaround. Okay, best pre-built ever. And other than that, venereal disease-wise, we're pretty good. In fact, Norton isn't even pre-installed on the system. They just give you the tools to download it if you're a granny. Wow, I am legitimately blown away. Okay, so with that, I need to go download some games on South African Wi-Fi because, well, I forgot my game drive like an idiot. So that's gonna take a while, which means I'm gonna go have lunch while that happens and then we'll test the system. But the Wi-Fi was such a dumpster fire that when I came back from lunch over an hour later, Steam hadn't even finished updating yet. Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna have to make a different plan here. Okay, well, I found some Ethernet and now it's going way faster. I mean, that's not great, but it's definitely a lot better than before. Okay, well, it is now the next day, and I managed to download 3 games overnight with our North Korean internet. So let's see how it runs Counter-Strike 2. Ooh, that's not ideal. We've got some activate Windows action going down. Okay, so at 1080p low settings, we're getting about 80 frames per second. It's not super snappy, but it's definitely playable. Like, this is, oh, a usable experience, aside from the occasional pretty big stutter. And then because we've got a proper RAM configuration in here, which we usually don't get with iGPU-based systems, look at that GPU utilization. Very good. It's super usable. And then because our CPU isn't doing much, we should get a lot more performance when we drop a graphics card in here. Ooh, okay, Doom Eternal at 1080p medium is starting to kick our teeth in a little bit here. 30 frames per second is not great for this game, but yeah, I'd say this is just about usable, although you would very much want a graphics card to play this game. And then in terms of temperatures, we're sitting around 65 degrees Celsius with 45-ish watts of power draw, which is pretty impressive considering that I'm sitting in a sauna at the moment. Now, this is not what I'd call a playable gaming result, but at 1080p Cyberpunk with a little iGPU, this is pretty impressive, especially considering that we have the option to turn on some Fidelity FX, which I feel like there's no shame in doing with an iGPU. It's over 25 now, This is like peak gaming experience back in 2005. It's not too bad. Although, our CPU temperature has gone up a lot. We've hit 81 degrees Celsius. Now that there's more of a load on the CPU, oh, that doesn't bode amazingly for our GPU test, which we're gonna do now. So now that we've seen how the little system performs with its iGPU, which is honestly admirable considering the condition, but I think it's time to drop a graphics card in here, which I got from Computer Mania. I ended up buying an RTX 3050. Now the eagle-eyed of you would have noticed that this is a 6 gig version of the RTX 3050, which is but a vivisected shadow of its former 8 gig self, and I guess that helps explain why it cost a bit less than a GTX 1650 in the shop, but either way, it'll perform a lot better than our iGPU. Oh, it doesn't need supplemental power. That's huge, because it means I don't have to go dig through Medusa's hair in that case to get some power for this graphics card. And with this 3050, it puts our total at 13,000 Rand for the system, which is way better than the options we could get and incredible connections with a graphics card. But with that, let's drop it in. Oh no, this case has the twisty out rear PCIe covers, hopefully. It's not as treacherous to get out as that one Deep Cool case. Ah, there we go. There we go. You want to pull it out to the outside so that you don't accidentally damage your motherboard. Holy, that's a lot more performance. I mean, that is always what happens when you drop a dedicated graphics card into a system like this, but it's a lot more playable. I really like these affordable iGPU systems because the fact that you can get up and running with a system and then drop a graphics card in later down the line, it's just such a good option. Not only do we almost get 3 times the frame rates dropping the graphics card in there, but it also eliminated that pesky stutter I was getting with the iGPU. But in return, we get some higher temperatures, which could at least partially be down to the Thai prison cell temperatures I was gaming in. Doom Eternal, if anything, was even happier with the graphics card, giving us almost a 4x jump in frame rate. And with this configuration, the game feels really good, hovering around 120 frames per second, but I was kind of expecting more. I guess I keep forgetting how much of a loser the 3056 gig really is. And then finally, Cyberpunk becomes actually playable, which is a huge improvement, and in a strange twist of fate, we actually lose some CPU temperature due to lower power draw, which is interesting considering the much higher frame rate. And with that, despite my decades of built-up prejudice against incredible connections, apparently the worst pre-built you can buy from them isn't nearly as bad as I would have expected. Although, to be fair, I was expecting it to immediately inject a bunch of bubonic plague into my eyeballs, so I guess it's not a high bar to clear. So with that, thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, bye-bye.
I bought this pre-built from Best Buy 3 years ago, and ever since I bought it, I've